You check your blood pressure, you see the number is too high again, and your first thought is that you need a stronger pill. That is the assumption almost everyone makes. But there is something you can do sitting in your chair right now that begins to lower your blood pressure within minutes. It costs nothing, it requires no prescription, and most people over 60 have never been taught it correctly. I am Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura, and after more than 20 years working with older adults in internal medicine, I have watched this simple practice change the numbers of patients who believed nothing but medication could help them. I want to be very clear from the beginning, because this matters more than anything else I will say today. What I am about to teach you works alongside your treatment. It does not replace it. If you take blood pressure medication, you will keep taking it exactly as your doctor prescribed unless your doctor tells you otherwise. What I am offering you is an additional tool, not an exit from the one you already have. Now, let me explain what most people do not realize. Your blood pressure is not a fixed number. It rises and falls many times every single day, and one of the strongest controllers of those changes is your breathing. Most adults breathe between 15 and 20 times every minute without ever thinking about it. Shallow, quick breaths, drawn high in the chest. On the surface, this seems harmless. It is just breathing. But inside the body, something very different is happening. Quick, shallow breathing keeps a part of your nervous system slightly switched on at all times. This is the part that prepares you for stress, the part that tightens your blood vessels and asks your heart to work a little harder. When it stays active hour after hour, year after year, your vessels spend most of their lives in a mild state of tension. And tense vessels mean higher pressure. Here is the part that rarely gets explained. There is another branch of your nervous system, the calming branch, and it responds directly to slow breathing. When you slow your breath down and lengthen the exhale, you send a signal along a large nerve that travels from your brain down to your heart. That signal tells the heart to slow slightly and tells the blood vessels to relax and widen. Wider vessels carry the same blood with less pressure against the walls. Think of it like a garden hose. If you pinch the hose, the water sprays out hard and fast under high pressure. If you release the pinch, the same amount of water flows through gently. Slow breathing is the hand releasing the pinch. Researchers have studied this carefully. When people practice slow breathing at around 6 breaths per minute for a few minutes each day, many of them see a real, measurable drop in their blood pressure over several weeks. This is not a miracle and it is not a cure. The reduction is modest. But for a body that has lived under quiet tension for decades, a modest, steady improvement is meaningful. Let me walk you through the pattern itself in 3 simple parts. The first part is the count. You are going to breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Then you are going to breathe out slowly through gently pursed lips for a count of 6. The exhale is longer than the inhale, and this is the most important detail. The long, slow exhale is what activates the calming branch of your nervous system. Most people breathe out too quickly. When you stretch the exhale longer than the inhale, you change the signal your body receives. The second part is the depth. You want the breath to come from low in your body, not high in your chest. Place one hand on your stomach. As you breathe in, that hand should rise. As you breathe out, it should fall. If only your shoulders are moving, the breath is too shallow. Low, slow breathing reaches the calming nerves that fast chest breathing never touches. The third part is the rhythm, slow and unhurried. Breathe in for 4, out for 6, and let there be no strain. If counting to 6 on the exhale feels difficult at first, begin with a count of 4 in and 4 out, and lengthen the exhale gradually over the coming days. There is no prize for forcing it. The whole purpose is calm. If this sounds like something you could do, I would like to know. Write the word breathing in the comments below, and tell me whether you have ever tried slowing your breath on purpose. I read what you write, and it helps me understand what you need. Now let me tell you about a patient, because his story explains why I take this so seriously. I remember a man named Thomas, 68 years old, a retired accountant. He was careful and precise in everything he did. He took his medication faithfully, he watched his salt, and still his blood pressure sat stubbornly higher than either of us wanted. He was frustrated. He told me he felt he was doing everything right and being punished for it anyway. When I watched him sit in my office, I noticed something. His breathing was rapid and high in his chest, even at rest. He was a calm man by nature, but his body had never learned to settle. It stayed in a state of quiet alarm all day long, and his blood vessels stayed tense along with it. I did not change a single one of his medications. I want you to hear that clearly. I asked him only to practice slow breathing for 5 minutes, twice a day, once in the morning and once before sleep. 4 counts in, 6 counts out, low in the belly. He was doubtful. He told me later he almost did not bother, but he is a disciplined man. So he did it. After about 6 weeks, his readings had come down in a way that surprised both of us, not dramatically, modestly, but steadily, and enough that at his next visit, his own doctor was pleased. His medication stayed the same. What changed was the tension his body carried underneath it. The lesson in Thomas's story is not that breathing replaces treatment. It is that the body has more than one lever, and most people only ever pull one of them. So here's what I want you to do, and I want you to keep it small, because small is what lasts. Choose one time each day, perhaps when you first sit down with your morning coffee or in the quiet minutes before sleep. Set aside 5 minutes. Breathe in slowly for 4, out slowly for 6, low in the belly, with the exhale always longer than the inhale. That is all. One session a day to begin. You can add a second when it feels natural. Do not measure your blood pressure immediately afterward expecting a transformation, and do not be discouraged if a single session does little. This is a practice that rewards repetition, the way a slow tide shapes a shoreline. The benefit comes from returning to it day after day until calm breathing becomes the way your body rests rather than something you have to remember to do. And I want to leave you with this. If you have lived for many years with high blood pressure, it is easy to feel that your body is simply failing you and that pills are the only thing standing between you and harm. That is not the whole truth. The body retains a remarkable ability to respond even late in life when you give it the right conditions. You are not powerless here. You hold one of the levers in your own hands, and it asks nothing of you but a few quiet minutes and the patience to return to them. Keep taking your medication as prescribed. Keep seeing your own doctor who knows your individual situation in a way no video ever can. And add this quiet practice alongside everything else you are already doing. Together, these things work better than any one of them alone. If this was helpful to you, please subscribe and leave a like so that others who need this can find it. Every week I share what I have learned from my patients so that you can make better decisions earlier with a calmer mind. Tell me in the comments how your first week of slow breathing goes. I will be reading, and I will see you in the next one.